On Monday, the WBSC released its world ranking of 84 national baseball teams. This came just 2 days after the end of the final Olympic qualifier, less than a month before the start of the Olympics. This is the first time they've put out a world ranking since March of 2020. As you know, with the exception of the Olympic qualifiers, not much has happened since then. Almost every international baseball event was canceled or postponed to another year. But there are a lot more changes than you might expect. Here is the new top 5. Number 1 is Japan, same as before. Number 2, Chinese Taipei, up 2 places from the last ranking. Number 3, no change, Korea. 4th is the USA, they swapped places with Taiwan. And 5 is Mexico. If you're not used to seeing these rankings, you're probably wondering how on earth Chinese Taipei is number 2. I'd better explain now before we go any further. These world rankings they do are not an accurate reflection of a country's strength in baseball. In fact, it's not even based entirely on national team performance. On the right you can see how many points each country has been awarded. On the WBSC site they haven't put up the methodology for the new rankings, so the best we can do is go back and look at how they awarded points for the last ranking. Here it is. Most of the points awarded came from the top tier events, up to 1,200 from the Premier 12, up to 1,000 from the WBC. I assume that's because the Premier 12 was a more recent event, and this explains why Japan was number 1 and the US was number 2. The Olympics will undoubtedly offer the most points towards the next rankings. The Olympic qualifiers figured into the rankings that came out this week, and as you'll see when we go through the rankings, performance in the qualifiers had an effect on their ranking, but nothing like a high finish in the WBC or Premier 12 would have. Next we see under World Championships, the Under 23, Under 18, Under 15, and Under 12 World Cups. This is the next biggest source of points, and I really don't think it should be. In fact, I think there should be a separate ranking for youth baseball. I want to look at these rankings and see which countries are playing the best baseball at the highest levels right now. Then I can look at the youth rankings to see which countries might be moving up in 10 years or so. Next is Senior Continental Championships and major multi-sport events. This would include events like the Pan American Games and the Asian Games. I agree with this one being here. Events like these are the best chance for countries that are up and coming in the baseball world to prove themselves against the traditional powers. The problem is if, say, Peru beats Venezuela at the Pan Am Games. Both countries are sending amateur squads, but the difference is that amateur squad is the best Peru has to offer, while Venezuela's best are professionals that aren't competing. Then Peru earns more points, even though we know Venezuela has more talent. Next we have official continental and regional events, like the West Asia Baseball Cup. After that, minor multi-sport events. Then we have the Baseball World Cup qualifiers, again youth baseball. Last, head-to-head friendlies. This doesn't happen as much in baseball as it does in some other sports, but when it does, a few points can be gained by the winning team. No points were awarded in 2020 since all international games were suspended. The new rankings reflect points earned from 2018 to 2021, so here the accomplishments of 2017 no longer matter, which would include the WBC. When we see a country fall several places in the rankings, it may not be from what they've done this year, but what they haven't done for more than 3 years. The only major tournaments from 2021 are the Olympic qualifiers. The World Cups for the youth teams are scheduled for later this year. Here is the top 12, the most important number since that is the cutoff for the Premier 12. Chinese Taipei won gold at the last Under 18 and Under 12 World Cups in 2019, so they still have the points from that. They were also third at the Under 15 World Cup in 2018. USA is the reigning champion from that event, but their championship in the last WBC no longer counts toward the rankings, so that explains the two countries switching places. Mexico won gold at the last Under 23 World Cup, and were third at the Premier 12. That's good enough to keep them in the top 5. Australia is number 6, same as they were in last year's ranking. That makes sense, they were unable to compete in the final Olympic qualifier last week. They should not be awarded or punished for that. Dominican Republic moved up 3 places to number 7 after a great showing in the 2 Olympic qualifiers last month. 7 wins, 1 loss, almost all against the top 12 countries you see here. A big improvement for the country that has been the biggest underachiever in international baseball. Then we see the effects of the qualifiers lessen quite a bit. Canada moved up 5 places to number 8, Netherlands stood still at 9th, while Venezuela fell 2 places to number 10. In the Baseball Americas qualifier, Venezuela dominated Canada in a one-hit shutout. In the final qualifier, they breezed past the Netherlands, twice, including a 10-0 2-hit mercy rule shutout the second time they played. Their only weakness was they couldn't beat the Dominican Republic. Cuba fell 4 places to number 11, the first time since the Baseball World Rankings were launched in 2009 that Cuba has fallen out of the top 10. And this one seems like it was about due. Cuba hasn't been doing enough lately to earn a top 10 ranking. Nicaragua is a new addition to the top 12, well deserved after they exceeded expectations in the Olympic qualifier. Canada is the other newcomer. Those two countries replaced Panama and Puerto Rico. Nicaragua in place of Panama seems logical. Canada replacing Puerto Rico, yeah, I can see why it happened. Puerto Rico's runner-up finish at the 2017 WBC is now in the distant past, as far as the point system is concerned. Canada won twice at the qualifier, Puerto Rico didn't win any, so it makes sense. But no one in their right mind would think that Puerto Rico is not a top 12 team. Colombia is 15th, down one place, also hurt by the fact that their success in the last WBC doesn't matter here. They did compete in the Baseball Americas qualifier but lost all 3 of their games, getting blown out in 2 of them. Then we have 2 European countries, number 16 Czech Republic and number 17 Italy. Italy was 2nd in the 2019 European Baseball Championships, behind the Netherlands. Czech Republic was 5th. Right after that, Czech Republic was 3rd in the Europe-Africa qualifier. Italy was 4th. The 2 countries haven't had a chance to change their rankings since then. 18 to 22, Brazil, China, Germany, Spain, and South Africa. Brazil and China both moved up 3 places. China was supposed to play in the final qualifier, could have moved up even more. Their last strong finish was 4th place at the 2018 Asian Games, behind the big 3 of Asian baseball, Korea, Japan, and Taiwan. Spain was 3rd in the European Championship, 4th in the qualifier, so about the same as Italy and Czech Republic. It must be the smaller tournaments and youth tournaments that hurt Spain's ranking. Germany was 6th in the European Championship, did not participate in the qualifier, but they're 1 place ahead of Spain. South Africa is the highest ranked African team. They win every competition in Africa, and they were 6th in the Europe-Africa qualifier. 23 to 27, France, Israel, Argentina, Pakistan, and Russia. Israel is the one that really sticks out there, one of the 6 Olympic qualifying countries, down 6 places from the previous rankings. They won their qualifier and were 4th in the European Championship, but you have to throw out their 2017 WBC run, and they do not perform well in youth baseball. Pakistan is the top country in the South Asian region, 5th at the last Asian Games. 28 to 32, Belgium, Hong Kong, Austria, Ukraine, and the Philippines. No big changes with these 5 countries. Hong Kong is surprising to see here, interesting that they're ranked higher than the Philippines. The reason for that is Hong Kong was 6th at the 2018 Asian Games, while the Philippines did not participate. 33 to 37, Great Britain down 2, Lithuania, Slovakia, Guam, no change. Indonesia up 6 places to number 37, the biggest gainer in Asia. The biggest gainers of all can be seen in the next 5. Greece up 2, Honduras up 8, Sri Lanka down 3, Switzerland up 9, and Ireland up 2. These big gains are not coming from any major tournaments. Honduras did not compete in the Pan Am Games. Switzerland was not one of the 12 countries in the European Championship. That's the same story the rest of the way through the rankings. Any big rise or fall comes from smaller tournaments. 43 to 47, Peru, Poland, Belarus, Croatia, and Uganda. Peru is a rising country in baseball, surprised to see they dropped a couple places. Uganda is number 2 in Africa, up 4 places. That is another country on the rise. They'll be in the top 40 before long. The next 5, American Samoa, New Zealand, Serbia, El Salvador, and Zimbabwe. New Zealand dropped 10 places to number 49. That's the lowest ranking of any team from the last WBC qualifier, and I guess they haven't done anything since then. Number 53, Thailand, followed by Bulgaria, Guatemala, Burundi, and Romania. Romania's down 8 places. You'll notice from here on out the biggest drops all belong to European countries. 58, Finland, 59, Kenya, 60, Curacao, 61, Chile, and 62, India. If you're surprised to see Curacao this low, remember that in all the big tournaments they compete with the Netherlands. If they competed independently, something they've talked about doing recently, they could be a Premier 12 team on their own. The next 5 from 63 are Aruba, Nigeria, Georgia, the Virgin Islands, and Fiji. All 5 teams moving up. Aruba, like Curacao, would be much higher, but all their best accomplishments come as members of the Netherlands. 68 to 72, Ghana, Hungary, Iran, Tanzania, and Sweden taking the biggest fall of any country, down 26. They were last out of the 12 teams at the 2019 European Championship and were relegated. In the previous edition, they had finished 8th. Number 73, Costa Rica, then Estonia and Slovenia, both falling hard. Bangladesh and Singapore going up. Almost at the end here, from 78th, Bolivia, Palau, Northern Mariana Islands, Bahamas, and Haiti. Bahamas are pretty low here because the best players from there join the Great Britain team for most international competitions. Nepal and Norway, both down 6 places, are tied with Bahamas and Haiti for last. Top climbers in the rankings are Switzerland up 9, Honduras 8, Indonesia, Aruba, and Nigeria all moved up 6 places. And there you have it, the World Baseball Rankings from 1 to 84, with a little explanation on why some countries aren't where you think they'd be. Let us know what you think, which country should be higher or lower, And what is a better way to calculate these rankings to more accurately reflect a country's strength in baseball? Anyway, that's all for this one. Until next time, this is Baseball International. See ya.